Hi there, and thanks for joining me again. I wanted to begin with some good news about Sergeant Patrick Kepp. Sergeant Kepp is the Montgomery County Police Department officer who was seriously hurt while trying to stop a driver going way over the speed limit along I-270 back in October. Sergeant Kepp lost parts of both his legs after the driver hit him, but he still aspires to walk and run again on prosthetics. It's good to see him doing physical therapy at Walter Reed and sharing his thoughts as he begins his recovery. I know his goal is to one day serve the community again in a similar role to what he was doing before, taking dangerous drivers off the road. His fortitude and drive to put his experience as a patrol officer to use again for the county is inspiring. It's also important to share that my office has been in contact with state lawmakers about following through on efforts to make dangerous driving a more serious offense. We need to crack down on excessive speeding and reckless driving and people who use their cars as weapons. This is reckless behavior that puts our community at risk. And these are the kind of things that need to be criminal offenses and not just ticketed as traffic offenses. I want to thank Sergeant Kepp for his dedication to our community and wish him and his family the best as he continues his recovery. This week I joined Governor Wes Moore, Comptroller Brooke Learman, and several members of our county state delegation, as well as members of the county council, in welcoming Choice Hotels International into its new home in North Bethesda. One of the first Choice hotels was built in Montgomery County by the Bainham family more than 60 years ago, and they're an important reason why we're a global hospitality epicenter. The 400 employees working at this new headquarters, located at Pike and Rose, are in a space and location designed for collaboration and innovation. North Bethesda is already a regional destination to live, work, shop, and dine, and having another major company there will only enhance that. I look forward to eventually seeing how the proximity to the technology at the University of Maryland's Institute for Health Computing will help Choice and our other hospitality companies. And it comes on the heels of another big announcement last week from biotech company United Therapeutics. They will be expanding their downtown Silver Spring operations, which currently employ 230 people. They're doing some amazing work on regenerative medicine in downtown Silver Spring, and now they're planning to grow their campus by 40% to include a new organ production facility. This partnership allows United Therapeutics to expand its vision to address rare and underserved diseases, while also ushering in a new era of economic growth in Silver Spring. We're swapping an old parking garage, and in return, the county will get a new parking garage with a state-of-the-art fiber hub, new retail space, and eventually affordable housing. United Therapeutics is a homegrown company that is also a social benefit corporation, and that adds to the vibrancy of downtown Silver Spring. This is great news for the community, for the company, and for patients. The value of this deal is over $100 million of investment by United Therapeutics with no public money involved. I know many on the County Council share my enthusiasm for this project, and I look forward to working with them on this and other improvements to downtown Silver Spring. The area continues to be a vibrant culture hub and an economic activity center throughout the year. Right now, it's drawing in the people for ice skating, shopping, and more. Please visit silverspringdowntown.com to learn more about upcoming events or planning a night out. Last Friday, a committee from Montgomery brought together federal, state, and local leaders, as well as community groups and businesses and nonprofits, for its annual meeting in advance of the General Assembly session. I had the opportunity to tell everyone gathered about the biggest challenge Montgomery County has right now in moving forward, which is funding for transportation. Currently, we're expecting solutions to come from the state. If the state doesn't have money, big projects simply don't get built. As I've mentioned before, I think counties across Maryland must have the authority and ability to create their own solutions to some of these challenges, similar to what's been done in Northern Virginia. State money is still needed and appreciated for large infrastructure projects, but we have to do more because this is about investing in our future for the infrastructure we need. The changes Virginia made to their tax structure more than a dozen years ago have enabled them to garner hundreds of millions of dollars in tax revenues from development through special taxing districts that have been used to build critical infrastructure. Their ability to do this and to provide the infrastructure to support new development is an ability we don't have. Their tax revenues come from commercial development, and the result is higher taxes in Virginia than development pays here. Much higher taxes in Virginia than development pays here. And while investing in infrastructure, it spurs development as well. We must also continue to make progress on affordable housing. Since 2019, and despite the pandemic, we produced 1,300 affordable units over this time period. Another 1,850 have been preserved, but we're trying to address a problem that's been around for more than 40 years. We've continually seen more affordable housing lost in a typical year than is replaced. When I say lost, I don't mean it disappeared. I mean that rents continually rose until much of the housing is no longer affordable, or affordable housing were upzoned and replaced with luxury housing without requirements to replace the affordable units that were there before the new development. And we're seeing this again in Bethesda now, a very unfortunate pattern. We're working with community partners and finding creative solutions to ensure that we can put ourselves on a better and more equitable path. Not only are we protecting and preserving current homes, but we're producing it too. These are two of many items that our budgets will address. Just this month, we learned that revenues that we anticipated having at this time back in the summer have been underestimated. In other words, we are in a strong economy and our reserves are now 17%, well above our target of 10%. This is good news and gives us more flexibility as we put together the FY25 operating budget and our capital budget. It's also good news from the Fed last week that interest rates are not going to be increased anymore, so they say, and a signal that they might be lowered in the next year. The level of interest rate is going to be very critical to our capital projects, as well as helping the revenue we need from housing transactions. Last week, Dr. McKnight proposed a budget to the Board of Education that is $150 million over last year's budget. Pending on what passes the Board of Education and gets sent over to us, that level of increase will have to force us to make some tough decisions over the upcoming weeks. So stay tuned for those discussions. Our Office of Management and Budget has a wonderful tool to help you answer your questions about this year's budget and to see what's in store for large projects in the near future. Visit montgomerycounty.gov/OMB to learn more. There is very little change in COVID-19 case rates from last week. We're in a 2-week stretch in which about 10% of every COVID test taken across Maryland comes back positive. These numbers, along with the county's wastewater surveillance report, show elevated levels of COVID-19 in our community, but nothing that would take us out of the low-risk category. More concerning, though, is the growing number of flu cases combined with COVID-19 cases and how it's impacting our emergency rooms. Too often, demand on emergency rooms or urgent care facilities leads to long waits for patients, exposing those who aren't sick to respiratory illnesses from people in the waiting room who are sick. When hospital beds are at or near capacity, seriously ill patients have to wait in the emergency room until a bed opens, creating more of a logjam and longer ER wait times. Our health team encourages everyone to know when to visit one of these facilities. Flu and cold symptoms are not life-threatening emergencies and do not require an ER visit or urgent care. The first call should be to a primary physician. A telehealth visit could also be all that's needed. It could also save time and money by avoiding unnecessary visits to the ER and urgent care. Please be aware over the holiday break that more people you see may be showing signs of being sick. Keep a face mask with you if you need it in order to protect yourself or others. Remember to wash your hands frequently and isolate yourself if you do feel sick. This is the time of year where we start to see more respiratory diseases, so be careful. Raising minimum wage is something I've been working on for many years. For the first time since Montgomery County led the way in raising pay minimums, the state of Maryland has raised pay level to the point that we are following their lead come January 1st. The Fair Wage Act of 2023 requires that all Maryland employers pay their non-exempt employees a minimum of $15 an hour. In Montgomery County, it means that small businesses with less than 10 employees will have to increase their minimum pay from $14.50 to $15 starting on January 1st. But in Montgomery County, businesses with 11 to 50 employees are already paying a $15 minimum wage, and larger companies are required to pay $16.70 an hour. A statewide $15 minimum wage is an important milestone, but not nearly all that's needed to bring equity to our region's workforce. In the 60s, when I was growing up, my family was able to take a $6,000 income and handle their house mortgage of about $122 a month. That tells you how far away we've gotten from what's expected today. You can't talk about affordable housing and act like it's only a housing price problem. It is also a wage problem. Fundamentally, it's a wage problem. We're committed to using the CPI, Consumer Price Index, for urban wage earners and clerical workers to keep wages rising for those earning a paycheck in Montgomery County. I'm encouraged by the progress made through our efforts and the Fair Wage Act. I support further increases to take the minimum wage over $20 an hour in order to help residents earn a livable wage and be able to remain in this county for the long term. I hope you've noticed the message being shared by our Department of Environmental Protection over the last few weeks to gift outside the box this holiday season. Trash piles grow by about 25% during the holidays. When you consider all the food that's thrown away, it could add up to 25 million tons of garbage nationally. For anyone still left on your list, consider greener gifting by visiting county businesses and purchasing items made locally. This helps us reduce the fuel used by cross-country deliveries and additionally improves our area economy. We want as much money to be spent here as possible. A recent OnePoll survey found that more than 40% of those surveys are starting to change their minds when it comes to eco-friendly gifts. You can also consider charitable donations in honor of your friends and family. My grandchildren often ask me to make this kind of donation. And if you have the means to do so, consider giving back to those less fortunate. By purchasing a donation gift certificate, you are assuring a family won't have to worry about how they're going to feed their family this season. You could also consider experiences like taking in a show at Strathmore, the Historic Olney Theater Center, or the AFI Silver Theater and Cultural Center. The holidays are a time of giving, and what better gift to give than a promise to protect our environment while supporting and promoting local businesses in our community. By working together, we can reduce waste, conserve energy, and promote a resilient local economy in the new year and many decades to come. Follow DEP efforts through social media at MyGreenMC on Instagram and X, and MyGreenMontgomery on Facebook. So that's a wrap for today. I hope you have a great week. Hope you have a wonderful holiday, and I'll see you again next week.